Hi, this is Gilles, the radio prepper. This video is not only for amateur radio people, but for anyone who's interested in producing videos for YouTube. And the usual subscribers to the channel will probably be interested in knowing how I record radios in the field. Now, I've had people ask me that, and that's why I decided to make a video. And I just came back from the beach and it was very windy, very difficult recording conditions, so that will be interesting. I haven't seen the footage yet, we'll see if it comes out okay. The video will mainly focus not on the way I do things, but on the gear I use, especially for audio, because audio is more important than video quality. And that's why I'm recording most of my videos, including this one, using my phone. You don't need very good quality for your video, except if you're, of course, like a travel vlogger and you're shooting beautiful landscapes. Usually, I film at 1080p, not 4K, and I don't need a super duper expensive camera. And everything I will show you today, I chose also considering budget, because I don't want to spend too much money. I don't have it. So I just picked the best quality gear I could for the money I had. And I'll start by the gear I use here at home in my tiny apartment. This microphone, for instance, is a condenser microphone. It's very sensitive, like all condenser microphones. They are better used in a studio. I don't have a studio. And if you have a room that has a lot of noise, fortunately I don't, like cars passing by, or you can hear your neighbors, or you have a dog barking in the yard or anything like that, a condenser microphone is not going to be for you. This is a Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. It costs about $120. You can find it for $100 without the shock mount. I like to have the shock mount. So $120 and you get an excellent microphone. Now this microphone, of course, I have two options. I can record directly into a sound recorder, or I can run it through a mixing table, which I do at home. I don't use this in the field because it will pick up all the noise around it. And when I started my channel, of course, I didn't have that microphone. I had something that really I'm going to show you, and the subscribers know it. It's the micro foufoune, like my ex calls it. And no comment on the translation of the name, but that recorder is a Zoom H1, and it pretty much made my channel. Why? Because, well, not just because it's funny and I look like I have a beard if I'm using it, but it's good quality. I mean, it's the bottom of, recording gear, but it's not bad at all. And really, I should have said what made my channel is this dead cat. We call that a dead cat or windscreen, because when filming outside, the biggest problem you encounter is the wind. Even a slight breeze, and you'll see that in the footage coming up, even a slight breeze can just ruin your take, and you'll have to redo it. And of course, on the radio, you're making a radio contact. You can't make it again. It's just, once it's gone, it's gone. So your sound must be good enough to put in a YouTube video. And that's what I'm doing with this microphone here. And this one that I started my channel with, I didn't buy it right away, but it became clearly apparent fairly quickly that I needed something for the wind. And the dead cat, I have dead cats for all my microphones pretty much, except this one. I use them extensively, and without them, I just can't film. I just can't record any sound. So now, what I moved up to after a while is what I'm recording with right now is the Zoom F3. That's a 30-bit float recorder with 2 tracks. So you can record 2 mono tracks or 1 stereo track. And it's really, really good. The 32-bit means that you have an awful lot of headroom and you're never going to peak the recorder. basically, if there was a sound that could peak your signal and clip it, it would be fatal to you. So you can't clip the sound with this recorder. Now the microphone can clip the sound, but if you have a good microphone, it's just not going to happen. And no matter how low or extremely loud I speak, or any noise around, even if there was a gunshot right next to me right now, this would not peak. Okay, so 32-bit float is the future of audio, I believe, and it's extremely useful. I don't have to worry about my level. It doesn't matter. I don't have to set the gain or anything. Well, I do set it here so that I can see it on the screen, but it doesn't matter. You can fix it later. So that's about, I think it was like $300 some. Not cheap, but if you want to record two different sources at the same time, and this has phantom power, so it does work, of course, for condenser microphones like this one, but also for dynamic microphones. And I'm going to show you this one next. So that's what I use for inside, and that's what I use for both inside and outside. Of course, you can start just recording with your phone. You're going to hear the sound here from the phone. All right, so this is coming from my phone. So as you can hear, indoors, it's not bad at all. It's really usable. You can use the sound from your phone. Now back on the microphone, but outside, it's a no-no. You're not going to be able to use the phone from the sound from your phone, especially if you have a ham radio on the table, or you have a speaker mic or anything. You just can't. It's if you have the slightest breeze is going to disturb the sound and make a whole lot of noise, and that's it. And people will stop watching a video if the sound isn't good. They absolutely will quit and go, watch something else. Your sound has to be good enough. Not super duper good like, a studio recording, but it has to be good enough that people don't notice that it's bad. All right, so you just saw one microphone, and again, I started using my phone, quickly moved to the H1 recorder. They don't make this one anymore. I've had it for about 9 years. They switched then to the H1N, and now they have the H1 Essential, which is also a 32-bit recorder. The problem is that to keep the price down for the H1 Essential, they switched to a cheaper plastic, and if you make any movements with it in your hand, you move it a bit, the noise is going to be really a big problem. This plastic isn't too bad. You can kind of move it around a bit. You're not going to pick up the sound in the microphone. But the new one, H1 Essential, you're going to hear it. So either you use a shock mount or you put it on a tripod or something. But if you can get an H1N, the previous model, it's a little bit better just for manipulation, handheld sounds that you make with your hand. Now, of course, 32 bits is really nice to have. So then you'll have to be careful with your levels. This one has auto leveling though, and it works fairly well, except that sometimes you can hear the level change when you start speaking. So, of course, for the videos I make, it doesn't matter. And it produces WAV files, and it has a low cut filter, so a high pass filter, so that you can cut at 80 hertz. And a lot of those noises get cut off, and some of the wind noise gets cut off also. It's nice to have a high pass filter as well. Now, of course, I have that on my mixing table, and I have that on the recorder as well. All right, so for recording outside, then once I had the Zoom F3, I bought a Shure SM57. The SM57 is an awesome microphone. It's practically indestructible, guys. I mean, you can't break that thing. You can run over it with a truck. You can probably dunk it in the water, throw it in the ocean. People have done that, and it keeps on going and keeps on working. So It's an awesome microphone. It's an instrument microphone, so it doesn't really have a lot of protection against plosive. Plosive is when you say peas. Papa, bring pizza. Something like that. So I put also a dead cat on it. I could have put a foam screen, windscreen on it, but this dead cat works really, really well. It's a little fuzzy, but Also, this probably won't ever peak for you. It will never clip your sound because it has a very high decibel rating. So I'm sure you can record a gunshot with this again, and the microphone won't clip your sound. The recorder, the 32-bit, won't clip your sound, and you can have some amazing recordings like that of things that are extremely loud. All right, so I'll keep going with the microphones. This is about the SM57. It's about $100. By the way, I put the links to all the stuff down below. So for the important audio stuff, I buy from a shop called Thomann. It's German, but you can switch the language on their page to English, and they ship practically anywhere. So they have a lot of stuff. All right, so then the SM57 I was using to put on the radio. You'll see that on the footage upcoming. I put the microphone with a microphone stand right on the speaker of my radio. Now the problem was for my voice, and I use, of course, the H1, which is great. But it was kind of nice to have the same recording. I mean, the two tracks that the F3 produces are synced, So it was nice to have the radio sound synced, with my voice coming from another microphone, which is this one. And I spent a little bit more for this one. It's an Audio-Technica AT897. It's a shotgun microphone. Now, what does that mean? Well, the sound, you have openings here on the side, and that's to reduce the sound coming from the side. Now, you would think that adding openings on the side would increase the sound coming from the side, but the phase is inverted, so it actually subtracts the sound coming from the side and concentrates, the sound on the capsule here. So it's a very directional microphone. Shotgun microphones are used for movie sets, for instance. You see them generally mounted on a boom that's overhead. And in studios, you can also mount them on a boom overhead outside of the frame, and you don't see them, but they get, they capture the sound with a lot of precision because it's also a condenser microphone. So it does need 48-volt phantom power. But this one has the ability to put a battery in it. Oh, you're going to hear that. So it allows you to use it with recorders or other stuff that don't have phantom power. So that's pretty nice. This was about $250, and that's my most expensive microphone. And I don't regret buying it because it works really, really well. You're going to hear that. I have another microphone here. Tiny microphone it's a Siren, S-A-I-R-E-N. I use that with, I have an adapter for USB here. I use that for my DJI Action 2 camera, which is an action camera, but allows you to plug in a mic also to have a little bit of a better sound. I also have wireless microphones. Ulanzi wireless microphones. I use a lot of Ulanzi stuff. I have a magnetic base here that I can put on my truck. Really cool. I have a tripod, the Ulanzi MT16, so 16 inches, I think. Maximum extension, maybe a little bit less. But it's really good quality. Again, from Ulanzi. I'm not associated. I don't get money from them, anything. I'm just mentioning it. You have a USB-C adapter here, which is a receiver. And you have a couple transmitters that you can clip on your collar. And it's wireless, so it's really useful when you have someone explaining something and you're filming them and they move around and they can't have a microphone with a wire attached. So that works really, really well. The case also has a built-in battery, so when you put them back in, they recharge automatically. And of course, I have mini dead cats for them because, of course, you must have a dead cat. Oh, and by the way, I also have a foam windshield for the Audio Technica, and this is for indoors. Aside from the Zoom F3 recorder for indoors, and you'll see also outdoors for the first time today, I have a mixing table. This is a small mixing table. It's a Mackie Pro FX6 Plus, which has 6 inputs, 2 microphone inputs, and it has 2 stereo inputs. So that's stereo inputs are actually 2 inputs, of course. I wish I had more microphone inputs, and I'm going to buy a bigger one to have more inputs for the microphones. But the advantage of this mixing table is that it's powered by 12 volts, so I can use it in the field. So this allows you to mix the sound inputs together. You can reduce the sound on one and bring one, up, so to speak. You can monitor your sound with there is a phones jack. You have a main output which I can connect to my recorder, and I'm doing that today. You'll see. And it's really useful. I can even bring in someone on the phone with this Bluetooth connection here. So if I click on it, I establish a Bluetooth connection to my phone, and not only can I record that in the mix, but the person on the phone also hears me through the microphone here and has very good sound. I'm not sure of the price. I think it was like 300 something, so not that cheap. It's not like a super cheap mixing table you can find on Amazon. This is a little bit better, and I'm probably going to get the one that's the 12 input. So, and that one has 7 microphone inputs. That will be much better, and I'll keep this one for outdoors use. All right, so this was the audio part. I'm going to talk a little bit about the video part because although it's not as important as audio, the video does matter, and I use more than one camera. I use my phone camera. Of course, it's a Samsung S21 FE Fan Edition, so not the latest by far. I also have a DJI Action 2 that you can see in my that I use in some of my videos. So here it is, and it has the battery pack here with the that has the SD card, micro SD card. And it's magnetic, and you have the DJI Action 2. I can plug in a microphone through the USB on the battery here and record. And this is really good. Actually, I use it sometimes also as a webcam. You can do that, and I film the radio. Sometimes I use it for other things, and it's pretty useful. I put it on my drones sometimes. Also, I mount them on the drones. It's pretty good. Oh, and I forgot to bring in my drone. I have a Mavic Mini, so I have very few drone shots on my videos, but sometimes I do film with the Mavic Mini when I want to show, like, myself, driving the truck maybe sometimes, stuff like that, but rarely. And when you start, you may not have the money to buy, a microphone like this one, and although it's not that much, but then you need other gear. But what I was using first for the live streams was a USB microphone, and here it is. And it's a Fifine or Fifine. That one is, what is that one? It's a K669. It's actually pretty decent. I mean, it was like $35, and you get a stand with it, mini tripod. You can set the level. And of course, you plug it in your computer via a USB connection. So really cheap. I mean, to start, this is better than your computer's microphone. I guarantee it. For live streaming, I have those Anker cameras. I have 2 of them, one for myself and one for the radio. and those are USB webcams. They go up to, I think they go up to 2 or 4K, I'm not sure. Much better quality than webcams I've used before. I think they're about $50. So that's what I use for live streamings, and they're pretty darn good. All right, so I think I showed you pretty much everything here. Now we're going to the beach and see how I use that stuff outdoors. All right, so lots of wind at the beach today, and that will show you how important that windscreen is. I'll let you listen to the sound without the windscreen from the phone, so you can hear the difference. But yeah, without it, basically I couldn't film or make a video at all because of the noise. So I'll show you the equipment I have installed here. I'm going to try a direct recording, so without the microphone for the radio. Of course, there will be a microphone for my voice, and hopefully it will work because it's really windy. Okay, so well, let's start with the microphone. I'm recording this with the Zoom H1. I have my Audio Technica AT897 on a support here. It should be in a shock mount, but I don't have one, so hopefully there won't be any noise from the table. I have my support here for my phone, of course, to film a video. My key, my Zoom F3 recorder, which is plugged in the output of the Mackie Pro FX6 V3 Plus mixing table. So I'm going to record in stereo. Of course, there won't be any difference between the two channels because everything is mono, but it doesn't matter. And I have plugged in the SM57 from Shure with the Dead Cat. Extremely important again. Of course, that's just to show you the difference, because the K1 is also plugged in directly into the mixing table, into inputs 5 and 6 here. Oh no, sorry, 3 and 4. 5 and 6 is free and available for Bluetooth actually. And I'm going to adjust the levels and show them in the recorder so that I can actually take the sound from the K1 in and out as I want. I can also change the voicing, basically, well, the EQ, the equalization. So make it, you know, change the frequency of the sound. So I basically have plugged in 2 microphones, 1 line input. I have output for the headphones, otherwise of course I can't hear the K1 at all. And output main outputs to the recorder. The power from the for the K1 and the mixing table is coming from this power pack. I have a splitter which goes to both of them, and the advantage of this mixing table, of course, is that it's also 12 volts. All right, so there is way too much noise from the ocean. Big waves here crashing, so that's a lot of noise. My table is moving. It's just crazy. And here comes the train, so that's even worse. I left, of course, the mic in on the table, so I mean in the frame, so that you can see where it is compared to my mouth. It's working really well. I can hear really well in my headphones, and I can actually turn on the K1. So I'm going to turn the gain on the mixing table, and you're going to hear the radio. And that's great because there is no wind problem, there is no external noise that comes in. It's line out from the K1, line in on the mixing table, and of course line in on the recorder. So that's excellent. The sound should be great, except for the ocean noise. I don't know how to mitigate that. I'm not sure. This microphone I'm using here is a shotgun microphone, of course, again, so it should cut the noise from the back, which is where the ocean is. And I'm not sure it's doing that, so I don't know. Well, let's just listen to the... I'm going to lower the sound from my microphone, and we'll listen more to the K1. I'm going to try to find a signal. That is so much better, guys, without the ocean. Yeah. He's got my name. Giving me a 599, sorry. Some QSB on his end. His name's Louis. Oh, that was hard. I'm concentrating on what I'm saying, and at the same time I forget. Fine business. He's got QRM. He got the beach part. I think he has my name, I'm not sure. He's got 70 watts. I would have liked to make a longer conversation, but it's so windy. I'm not going to stay here long. Thanks for the QS. All right, so I totally messed up because my recorder ran out of batteries. And those AA batteries, they don't last a whole lot of time, so you have to make sure you have spare batteries, which I do. But now it's time for the aperitif, so... Alright guys, so thanks to spare batteries, back in business. So I don't know if my contact was cut off or not. I'm going to turn the K1, the sound of the K1 back on. So I can cut the sound off my microphone, so to leave only the K1. That's the advantage of the mixing table. So you can see how everything is moving. Of course, without the dead cat on the microphone, it would be unusable. I mean, I'm going to make you hear the sound of the phone, you know, from the phone. So there we go, and now you can hear the wind is just making it unusable. And I absolutely need a microphone with a dead cat to be able to record. And I can cut the K1 off whenever I want, the sound, so that's... it's really useful to have that mixing table because you can hear the sound from the radio without all the noise coming from the outside, and that's really useful. I don't always do that, but bringing the mixing table with me, that's you know, something else to bring along, and it's just a pain to set up. But of course, the results are much better that way, and I'm probably going to continue to do it that way. Now I'm going to use the microphone, the SM57, and you're going to hear the sound when I'm you know, using two microphones, so one for my voice with the shotgun, and the one on the K1 with the SM57. All right, so here I'm recording the sound with my H1, and of course I have the Zoom F3 plugged in directly with the microphones, the SM57 on the K1, and the Audio-Technica AT897 directly. Both of them are plugged in directly into the F3 recorder. Alright, so now my voice is coming directly from the shotgun microphone, the Audio-Technica, and the sound from the K1 is coming from the SM57. Of course, I can't cut off the sound. Well, I can cut off the sound from my microphone, but I have to do it in post-production. So, because now I'm recording two tracks on the recorder, instead of recording one stereo track with the two inputs from the mixing table, I'm recording two separate mono tracks. One from my microphone and the other one from the SM57 on the K1. The problem though with that solution is that my shotgun microphone, which is used for my voice, will also pick up a little bit of the K1. So I really can't isolate the two 100%. And of course the SM57 is going to pick up just a little bit of my voice also. Because it's very directional, so it shouldn't pick up too much of my voice, but it will pick up some noise from the ocean also. Maybe a little bit of wind, but mostly the K1. And of course my shotgun microphone will pick up my voice really well, but also the ocean, also the K1, also the wind. Hopefully the dead cats are working well, but you know, it's less gear to lug around, but it's not as practical. It's not as good as using the mixing table, basically. And of course, if I want to cut off the K1, I have to just lower the volume. And now I don't hear the radio at all. All right, so that's it for this test because the wind is really, it's really picking up. And I'm worried about my antenna and everything on my table, so the table could flip. I'm just gonna call it a day here, and hopefully you got some insight into how I record and how you can record sound of a radio, especially outside. Alright guys, so you saw that that was very difficult conditions. I did make a contact with Spain, another one, I'm not sure, I think it was Italy. All right, so I showed you all the gear pretty much. Again, the links, I'll put the links down below if you want to get them. You don't have to buy the exact same stuff. I'd say if you want to buy a good microphone, you have to probably pay about $100. You can find cheaper ones, but you know, you're going to buy something better later anyway, so you might as well save up a little bit of money and buy something good right away. I don't like to spend more than about $100 for a microphone. The mixing table, it depends if you're going to use it for just your YouTube video or something else. If you have a podcast or a YouTube channel that does podcasting and you have a bunch of guests, then you're going to use more inputs for the microphones, that's for sure. You're going to have to buy more microphones, and for something like that, I probably would use like a Shure SM58. That's more of the normal voice microphone. It's actually the same capsule as the SM57, so very close properties, but it's got a grill. It's the most used microphone ever. These are made since 1965, so older than myself, not by far, but yeah, it's just everyone who's into audio has a bunch of these, And you can start with that, a couple microphones. I'm not sure my shotgun microphone is the best for outside because it's a condenser. So I might switch to a dynamic microphone. Dynamic microphones are not as sensitive as shotgun microphones. They can also be very directional if you get a hypercardioid. This is a cardioid microphone, so mostly front of the microphone stuff. A hypercardioid will narrow the field, so to speak, really only pick up stuff that's in front of it and much less what's around. Maybe I'll switch to a dynamic microphone for outdoors. All right, so lights. I have 3 of these lights, and lights are important for indoors or outdoors if you're operating at night. Like I do sometimes, and these are color. You can set the color on them, and they will last a long time on the battery. It's kind of purple right now. Sometimes I put it in the back, to have a little bit of a light in the background, because that kind of cuts on the shadows that the lights that I have here produce. I have one on each side. So that creates shadows on the wall, and if I put a light like this in the back, that kind of takes those shadows away. It adds a little bit of color, you can put it in different places. Maybe have like an aura, like this. Very useful. I got them on AliExpress. I'll put the link also down below. They are very inexpensive, and they have a screen in the back that shows the color temperature and the level. They're not super bright, but they're enough, because anyway, they're like 2-3 feet away, so it doesn't matter. And very useful for outdoors also, because I can put one on the radio, 2 on myself and 1 on the radio. And of course, you will see the radio much better that way, especially in the evening, or even at night. All right, guys, I hope this was informative. I know it's not exactly about amateur radio, but it is about recording ham radios. So some of you might want to do that, whether it is for YouTube or something else, or a presentation or anything like that. Sound is important, once again. I also had to record presentations and stuff like that. I don't quite have the correct microphones for that yet, but I'm working on it, and hopefully I'll record more presentations like that and conferences and things of that nature. But mostly, of course, it's going to be ham radio and field operations. And yeah, it's not easy to record audio for that, but I hope you found this useful. Don't hesitate to help the channel. Sign up on Patreon, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff. Get me a coffee with the coffee donation down below. It helps a lot because it's a lot of gear that I have to have if I want to maintain a certain quality of production. And I know I'm not a pro. I'm not that good at it, but there is a minimum for you guys because of course radios, especially if I present a radio from a manufacturer for a review, I have to give you an accurate representation of the sound coming out of that radio, and it's important because otherwise, how would you judge, the quality of the sound? And I try to make recordings as precise as possible. It's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm learning, and it's just all new to me, all that sound stuff, and it's very interesting. But anyway, I hope it's useful to you, whatever you do with it. And until next time, have a good one.